Good morning and welcome. I hope everyone's doing great this morning. We have a nice layer of snow on the ground today, which makes everything look pretty. Today, I think we're going to start class flowing and moving. It'll be a little quicker than we normally do go, but then near the end or second half, even maybe three quarters, we're going to slow it down, and hopefully the body will be ready for some deeper poses that we will hold for longer. So if you're not fond of the vinyasa flow, um, go at your own pace. Skip what you need to skip. We don't have to do every single one. We have always have options in on our mat. So just take it to your level, to your whatever you're feeling this morning. If you're feeling a little sluggish, then listen to the body. But I'd like to start in child's pose, something very inward, and restful. So go ahead and come to child's pose, your child's pose. It doesn't matter if it's extended, or we can bring our arms to our sides, but go ahead and snuggle down, chest to thighs, and find a comfortable position. We can choose to extend those arms if we want to come to extended child's pose, but most important, we want to be comfortable. So if we need to put something in between our heels and our thighs, we can go ahead and get a prop to do that. We need to put something under our forehead, certainly go ahead and get a block or a pillow, or we can even stack our hands on top of each other and bring the forehead down if it's not reaching the mat comfortably. But we're going to spend a few moments here in our child's pose, whatever it looks like for us this morning, and just start to notice the breath. So how do we feel this morning? It shows up in our breathing. If we're feeling rushed, it's going to show up in our breathing. Our breathing is going to be quick and shallow. So let's see if we can bring our awareness to the breath and slow it down. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Breathing out of the mouth is available to us anytime we need to, but typically we want to breathe in and out through the nose. So this year has really been an opportunity for us to look at what really matters in our life. What is important to us? Maybe things that we thought were important aren't so important, not as important as we thought. But I hope our yoga practice fits into our life, into our daily practice. We might not be getting out into a studio or a gym, but finding ways to incorporate yoga into our life every day, even if it's just awareness of the breath. So we're going to spend about 5 or 6 more cycles of breath here in our child's pose. And that breath, the awareness to breath, can be a game changer in our life, especially when we're feeling anxious or uncertain. When we're ready to come up, go ahead and come up off of the heels, removing any props that we may have used, and we'll come right into our all fours position. Since we're down here anyways, we'll take a few rounds of cat and cow just to warm up the spine. You guys know what to do. So stacking our arms and stacking our legs, taking an inhale for our cow, lifting the tailbone and dropping the belly, gaze forward, exhaling as we round into our cat. Take a few of these just to warm up the spine, warming up any parts of our body that needs a little extra love today. We're going to find ourselves in mountain pose. So however you'd like to get there, you can curl the toes under and push up into down dog, and then spending a few moments in down dog, checking it out, and then walking up to those hands. Again, taking time here. We're going to take about at least a minute to meet in mountain pose. So walking the feet up into that forward fold, spend some time there. Again, you guys know what to do. So what feels good? How are we going to get ourselves to mountain pose? Come up when you feel ready, and there is no rush. We're going to spend some time in our mountain pose whenever we get there, Tadasana. And once we do arrive, finding that beautiful stance, roll those shoulders back and down, letting the palms face forward, close the eyes, and just take a few breaths here. When we take those 5 deep breaths, we press that reset button. We get to start fresh. And every time we come to our yoga mats, we get to start fresh. So five cycles of breath here. We're going to bring some movement into our body. So on an inhale, all we're going to do is sweep those arms out and up, all the way up to the sky. Our palms can come together or not. And then on the exhale, slowly bring those arms back down to our sides. Feel free to close the eyes. We'll do that 4 more times. Inhaling, reaching out and up. And exhaling, bringing those arms all the way down. So the arms are moving to the speed of our breath, not my breath. So if you're breathing slower than I am, or maybe quicker than I am, the arms are going to be moving at a different pace. So coming back to Tadasana, mountain pose on that last one, we're going to add a fold, 5 folds. So take it in or out and up, inhaling. Bend the knees really deeply and sweep those arms down. And then back up, inhaling, lifting up. And exhaling, folding down. And just moving to the speed of our breath. Generously bending our knees 5 times. So starting our vinyasa flow here, nice and slow, meeting in a folded position. So let the arms come down and decide if we're feeling a lot of tightness in the backs of the legs, we keep the knees bent. We want to try to straighten the legs just to see what it feels like. You can go ahead and do that. So there's no rules here. We find what makes our body feel good today. So when we do our vinyasa flow for this practice today, we're going to do it on the front side. So let's take our fingers and align them to the sides of our mat. So there's one straight line from the fingers to the toes. We'll step our right foot back into our lunge. We're going to keep that front foot framed. And again, we're just going to move slowly here, checking out each position along the way. So when we step back into our lunge for downward facing dog, if it's not instructed which foot to step back, yogi's choice. You can decide which foot you want to step back each time, but just make sure that you switch it up a little bit. So not always the right foot, not always the left foot or left leg. But take a moment here just to lift the heart away from the thighs. And then we'll plant those hands down and step it back to downward facing dog. Again, we meet in down dog, pushing that mat away, melting the heart towards the thighs. And we're going to go through 3 options for our vinyasa flow. Again, you guys probably know this already, but we're going to just review them quickly, or I should say slowly as we move through our flow. Come forward on that inhalation into plank pose. The first option is we lower those knees down to the mat right away and bring the tops of the feet to the floor. Point the toes back. Making sure our arms are nice and straight. Push the mat away. Take an inhale. When we're ready to come down, exhale all the way down to the mat. Elbows hug in towards the sides of our body. When we take our next inhale, we either come up to cobra, keeping our elbows bent or arms bent, but pressing our heart through, or we straighten those arms, lifting up off of our thighs and knees, coming into upward facing dog, and pulling our heart through. And then exhale, we go back, downward facing dog. Looking to the top of the mat, we'll step that right foot forward back into our lunge. So opposite foot is back. And take a moment here just to feel this lunge on this side. Lifting the heart, drawing that left heel towards the back of the mat. When we're ready to come forward, let the back foot meet the front foot, coming into our forward fold. Inhaling, we lift halfway. Fingers can tap down onto the mat, the feet or the shins. Exhale, we fold and melt. Circle sweep those arms out and up. And we meet back in Tadasana, arms to our sides. So option number 2, reach out and up. Swan dive down, exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Let's step our left foot back this time into our lunge. And switch it up if it's not instructed, you choose. Go ahead and go back to downward facing dog. Option number 2 is to come forward into plank on our inhale. And we'll see how long we can keep our knees lifted until we go down to the mat. But know that as we start to lower those arms, or bend the arms and lower the chest down, at any time, those knees can come down to the mat, and then the chest comes. We go right into our cobra on an inhale, or we choose that upward facing dog. Exhaling back, downward facing dog. Take a look to the top of the mat, step the left foot forward again, back into our lunge, lift the heart, step the right foot forward into our fold. Halfway lift, inhale, exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up, and back to Tadasana. One last option, go ahead. This is the most challenging, our Chaturanga. Inhale up, exhale, fold. Halfway lift, go ahead and step that right foot back into our lunge. Left foot steps back. Again, if not, then you can choose whatever, like come forward to plank, inhaling. So this is the most challenging. We meet in Chaturanga Dandasana. When we come down, we keep our knees lifted. And again, if we already know this is not the option for us, don't do it. But come down slowly. Once we get those upper arms aligned with our upper back, we hover. We don't let the knees come down, put the tops of the feet onto the mat. We push right into upward facing dog. Again, the most challenging, but we might want to try it here and there. Go back, downward facing dog. Looking to the top of the mat, stepping our right foot forward into our lunge, left foot forward into our fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, release. Melting into those thighs. Inhale, circle sweep. And we'll take it back to Tadasana. So take a few breaths here in Tadasana. So hopefully as we get to really know the flow, whether it's through the vinyasa flow or the linking of the poses together, we can make a nice home practice for ourselves, right? That's what we want. We want to incorporate yoga into our lives every day if we can. So coming back to our Tadasana and awareness to the breath, we're going to start. Inhale those arms out and up. Exhaling, taking that swan dive down. So inhale, halfway lift. Step back, whatever foot you would like into that lunge. And then other foot comes back to downward facing dog. Since we're doing our vinyasa flow on the front side, take the option that works best for your body this round. Come forward into that plank, inhaling. Lower the knees down or not. Lower the body down. Knees can tap down at any time, or we can find Chaturanga Dandasana. Cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. So we're going to start with Warrior One. When we bring our foot through, we have the option to lift the leg to the sky, but we don't have to. Take the inhale, and we'll take the left leg up towards the sky, reach it up on the inhale, or simply bring it through into that lunge position on the exhale. Once we get into our lunge, we'll bring that back heel to the mat, and we're going to find Warrior One. Reach those arms forward and out, finding Virabhadrasana 1. And we will hold for 5 breaths. So when we hold the pose, if it feels good to close the eyes, certainly try that, or find that steady gaze. What is our drishti? What are we focusing our eyes on? Steady, steady gaze. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, melt down. Strong stance in our legs. When we take our exhalation, let those hands tap down onto the mat into our lunge. Lift the back heel up, step it back. Downward facing dog. Right leg is going to come forward or sweep to the sky. Yogi's choice. Inhale it up. Bring it through on the exhale. Back heel to the mat. Warrior one on the second side. 5 breaths. Reach up for 1. Breathe in. And then inhale for 2. And exhale. 3. Last breath. Inhale for 5. And exhale. Bring the hands down into our lunge. Lift the back heel up. And since we've already done our vinyasa flow, step it forward into our forward fold. Halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Circle sweep, arms out and up. Rise all the way up. And then bring our arms down into Tadasana. We're going to start to build. Inhale up. Swan dive down. Halfway lift. Step whatever foot we'd like back to that lunge. And then back to down dog. Carefully moving through our flow. Inhaling to plank. Exhale, lowering down, choosing our option. And we can skip our flow and stay in down dog. We can even lower to the knees and find child's pose. Once we meet back in down dog, we'll all meet up again in down dog. Right leg this time, reach to the sky. Inhale it up. Bring it through as we exhale. Warrior one. 1 breath. Lift up. Exhale, we meet in Virabhadrasana 2. Hips shift to the long edge of the mat. We settle into this Warrior 2. 5 breaths. And if it feels good to breathe out of the mouth, releasing what no longer serves us. Breathe in for 4. And last one, breathe in. Exhale that back arm forward, coming into our lunge, back to down dog. So we want to get to a point where we don't even have to think about where we're going. Left leg lifted up or sweep it through. Warrior one, plant the back heel down, rise up. 1 breath brings us up. The exhale moves us to Warrior 2. And we hold. Breathing. And just actively drawing that left knee towards our left pinky toe, tracking it towards that side to open up our adductor, our inner thigh. Take 1 more inhale. When we exhale, cartwheel the back arm forward, come back into lunge, lifting the back heel, step it forward, forward fold, halfway lift, extension. Exhale, fold and melt. Circle sweep, arms out and up. When we bring those arms down and around, we have the choice to come back to mountain, Tadasana, or bend the knees and find chair pose. Chair pose, Utkatasana is totally optional. Take a couple of breaths wherever we are, whether we're in mountain pose or whether we're in chair pose. Bringing those arms down, we'll all sweep those arms out and up. Swan dive down, exhale. Halfway lift, inhale, step it back. We choose which foot to come into lunge. Other foot meets to down dog. Coming through to plank, inhaling. Exhale, lowering down all the way or hovering chaturanga. And each time we do it, we can do it differently. Back to down dog. We know where we're going. Left leg lifted up, sweep it through. We're going to find Warrior one on this side. Back heel spins down to the ground. And we're moving a little bit quicker. Exhaling to Warrior 2 on this side. And then flipping the front palm Inhale that left arm up and back, reversing our warrior. 5 breaths. Generous bend in that front knee. Left hand can slide down that back leg. Or we can support our low back with the back of the hand. Breathe in for 3. Out. Number 4. And out. And number 5, in. Cartwheel the arms forward. Lift the back heel. Step it back. Down dog. Other side. Right leg, reach it up or sweep it through. We'll meet in warrior 1. Plant that back heel down. So coordinating the movement with the breath. Inhale up. Exhale, open to warrior 2. And inhale, flip the front palm, reversing our warrior. 5 breaths. Inhale for 1. And exhale. Number 2. And exhale. 3. Filling the body. Exhale, releasing. 4. We'll take our 5th inhale and then exhale, cartwheel the back arm forward. Coming into that lunge, step it forward. Forward fold, lightly stepping. Halfway lift as we inhale. Exhale, fold. Circle sweep. Out and up. Chair or mountain, yogi's choice. 2 breaths wherever we are. If we are in Utkatasana, let the heels take our weight. We're not stressing out our knees. Bring the arms down. Inhale all the way out and up. Swan dive down. Exhale. Halfway lift. Inhale. Step one leg back into that lunge. And then the other downward facing dog. Coming through to plank. Inhaling. Lower down. Exhale. And maybe we switch it up, bringing our body all the way down, maybe taking cobra, inhale, and then back to downward facing dog. The right leg, reach it up, or bring it through. Adding on, bring that back heel to the mat. Inhale to warrior 1. Exhaling to warrior 2. Inhaling to reverse. Then meeting in triangle, straighten that front leg. And as we reach those right fingers towards the front of the mat, let's waterfall that hand down to the outside of the right leg. Left arm reaches up to the sky, and we open up into Trikonasana. Keeping our left shoulder right over or in line with our left hip. 5 breaths. We can look up at that extended arm, that left hand, or we can look down to the front foot. Take the gaze down to the front foot if it's not already there, and come back to lunge. Bending that front knee, lifting the back heel, stepping it back. Downward facing dog. Second side, left leg lifts up, or bring it through. Inhaling if we lift it up, and exhaling as we bring it through. Back heel to the mat. Building. Inhale, warrior 1. Exhale, warrior 2. Flip as we inhale to reverse. Straighten the front leg and float those left fingers down to the outside of that left leg or a block. Right arm reaches up to the sky. Triangle shape. Reach up through those right fingers. Making sure the crown of the head is pointing towards the front of the mat. Revisiting each pose, 1 breath at a time. Look down to the front foot. Exhale as we bend into the knee. Lift the back heel. Step it forward. Forward fold. Halfway lift with a big inhalation. Exhale, release as we melt into our thighs. Circle sweep, arms out and up. Tadasana or Utkatasana, chair or mountain. And if we come into chair, we know we can let the hands come together or just reach the arms forward instead of power chair as we reach the fingers up. Go ahead, lower the arms down. We'll all straighten the legs and reach up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, halfway lift. Step it back, one foot into our lunge, the other foot into down dog. Taking our time, moving through our vinyasa flow if we decide to. Inhale into plank, lower down, over or up dog. Then exhale, down dog. Left leg, sweep it up, bring it through. Never ever feeling rushed here. Take all the time that's necessary to find that stable base. Inhale up. Exhale, warrior two. We know where we're going. Reverse that warrior. And Trikonasana, straightening the front leg and floating those left fingers down. We're going to go right into our side angle from here. So all we're going to do is rebend that left leg and slide the left arm up so the forearm is placed right on that left thigh. Right arm stays just as it is, or we can bring that arm over the ear, extending our side angle, reaching the fingers towards the top of the mat. Palm is facing down, pinky finger is closest to the mat. Reach through that arm. We're holding this for 5 breaths. And anytime we have that forearm on our thigh, just making sure we're not leaning too much into it. Can we push into the feet and engage the core and lift the left arm off of that thigh just a tiny, tiny bit? That will allow us to know that we are being supported by our legs, by our core. Look down to the front foot and we'll frame it, coming back to lunge, back to down dog, and second side, right leg, reach it up, sweep it through. Warrior one, getting there. When we get there, back heel to the mat. Inhale up. Exhale, warrior two. Reverse that warrior with an inhale. Trikonasana, straighten the front leg. And then rebend that front knee, resting the forearm on the thigh, nice deep bend, and maybe taking left arm over the ear, extending our side angle, reaching. And are we relying too much on that right thigh? See if we can push into the feet and engage the core, lift that right forearm up off of the mat, just as if you were going to, somebody was going to slip a piece of paper in between the arm and the leg. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Look down to the front foot and lower those hands down. Lift the back heel, step it forward. Forward fold, halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Circle, sweep, arms out and up. Mountain or chair. So we decide. Let go of competition, especially with our own mind, our own body. Bring the arms down. We'll do one last round. Reach up, inhale, exhale, swan dive down. Halfway lift. Step it back to a lunge and then downward facing dog. Let's move through our vinyasa flow if we are interested. Coming forward, plank, lower down. Always making sure those elbows are not splaying out. They're drawing in towards our side body. We'll all meet back up again in down dog. So last round for this right side. Right leg reaches up. We know where we're going. Inhale it up. Exhale it through. Back heel to the mat. Inhale to warrior one. Exhale to two. Inhale to reverse. Exhale to triangle. Inhale to our side angle extension if we'd like. So we're going to go right from here to a twisted lunge. We're going to try to move 3 parts of our body together seamlessly. So the left hand is going to come down to the mat on the inside of that right foot. At the same time, don't do anything yet. At the same time, we're going to lift our back heel up so we're in our lunge. And without bringing the right hand to the mat, we're just going to sweep it out to the right side. So let's go ahead and give it a try. Bring the left hand down to the mat. We'll lift our back heel up and we'll sweep the right arm to the right side and up to the sky, meeting our twist, stacking our shoulders. And left hand can always find a block if we have one handy, because we're gonna hold this for 5 breaths. So we wanna make sure that we feel supported. Spinning our navel center towards that inner right thigh. One more breath in. And then exhale the hand down to the outside of that foot. We're gonna stay here for a moment. So we're done with this one side, but we're gonna get a little bit deeper into some poses here. So choose to start to straighten up that front leg and just visit your pyramid pose. See what it feels like. We can extend the spine as we look forward. If that right leg does not want to straighten, it's okay. We can always put our hands on blocks or books if we have them. We're just going to spend another breath or two here. And then exhale, bend back into our knee. We're going to go ahead and tap our back knee down to the mat. Before you do, if the stance is short, you can always tick-tock the left foot back to widen and then lower down to that back knee, bringing the top of the foot to the floor. And then we're going to come into Anjaneyasana, kneeling lunge. So lifting the fingers up off the mat, you can sweep those arms out and up, reach all the way up, letting that left hip flex or smile. And then moving into a little flow here. Let's bend those arms into those goalpost arms. Let the fingers spread wide apart. Look up to the sky, gentle back bend here. And then let those hands come right down to the mat, framing our front foot. And then sweep those arms out and up, reach up. Exhale, bend those elbows, find those cactus or goalpost arms, lean back, and then bring those hands all the way down. We'll do that twice more, and moving at our pace, sweep out and up. Inhaling, exhale, bend those elbows, lean back, and bring those hands all the way down to the mat. One last one. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, bend, lean, and bring those hands all the way down. We'll meet back with our hands on the mat, framing our front foot. And then moving into our version of runner stretch or half split, we can start to slide those hips back. We could lift our toes up off of the mat, digging into our heel. We could keep our arms extended, or we can walk those hands back. So again, we're all going to look just slightly different here, depending on our bodies, our flexibility, or our desire this morning. Let go of that competition, especially with ourselves. So looking forward if we'd like, or maybe taking our nose down towards that front shin, and that may not be available to us, or maybe we just don't want to go there. Pay attention to the back of that right leg. When we're ready to exhale, rebend that front knee. And then taking our right hand, moving it over to the inside of the right foot. So both hands are on the left side of our right foot. Walk the right foot over to the right side. We're preparing for our lizard. So making some space for our body. Initially, let's take our back toes and curl them under to come up off of our knee. See what this feels like. If this is already too much, lower the back knee down. Then hang out here for a bit. We could extend our right arm forward, reaching our fingers towards the top of the mat and letting our head come down towards that inner right arm. We could try to extend our left arm forward, letting the right hand come back to the inside of that leg and letting the head come down towards the inside of the left arm. So explore the body. What feels good? We can also bring both hands down or back and then lower the forearms down. And knee on that left leg can come down. That might be more appropriate. Top of the foot to the mat, and we can roll to the outside edge of the right foot, lifting the inner right foot off of the mat. So we are in our own homes. We can do whatever we'd like, but play around, explore the body. What feels good in this lizard position? You can keep that back knee lifted. We're going to spend about 3 more breaths here. So feel free to play around. Always keeping our bodies safe. When we're ready to come back, we'll bring those hands back to the inside of the foot. And if our back knee is lifted, we'll lower it down. Carefully bring the right hand back to the outside of the foot and heel toe that foot over to the left side so it is in the middle of the mat. Now we'll come back to our lunge, lifting the back knee up off of the mat. Take an extra little lift here of the heart. Left heel reaches back towards the back of the mat. And then stepping it back, downward facing dog. Take a big breath in. We're going to lower down to child's pose. Come on down with the knees, widening them or not. Tops of the feet meet the mat and the big toes meet together. Take it to child's pose. So this is where we started this morning. What changes have we noticed? Has our breath changed? Has our focus changed? We'll lift back up when we're ready into our all fours position. So stacking arms, stacking legs, curling our toes under and pushing back up, downward facing dog. So finishing off our second side, left leg lifts to the sky, inhale it up, exhale it through into our lunge. Back heel to the mat, we know where we're going. Inhale to warrior one, exhale to 2, inhale to reverse, exhale to triangle, Trikonasana. Inhaling to that side angle, extending the arm over the ear. And let's see if we can effortlessly and all together do those 3 movements. Right hand down to the inside of that left foot, back heel lifts, and left hand sweeps out to that left side, meeting in our twist. Beautiful, stacking our left shoulder on top of the right. And letting our hand find a block if we need to on that right hand. 5 breaths. Breathing in for 4 and exhaling. Lower the left hand down on that last exhalation, keeping the back heel lifted if we'd like, finding our pyramid. So starting to straighten up that front leg. We can always take the back heel to the mat if we'd like to. And we are exploring our body, but what we're trying to do is to keep our hips square. So internally draw the left hip back, draw the right hip forward. Play around, extending or draping our body over that front leg. And we can go as deep as we'd like. When we're ready to come out of this, go ahead and bend that front knee, meeting back in our lunge. If we need to tick-tock that right foot back, go ahead and we'll lower the knee down, bringing the top of the foot to the floor. Let's circle sweep those arms out and up. Inhale up into that Anjaneyasana, kneeling lunge. So bend those elbows into our goalpost or cactus arms. Lean back, look up, and let those arms come all the way down, framing our front foot. We'll do that twice more. Inhale, sweep out and up. Exhale, bend. Feel the back bend. Let those hands come all the way down. And last one. And if it feels better to hold, that's okay. Bend and open and lower all the way down. So we will meet in our runner stretch or a half split. Take notice of what we want to do here. Shift the hips back, lift those toes up, straightening our front leg, digging into our heel if we choose to, walking the hands back or keeping those arms straight. Again, we want to draw the left hip back. It wants to jut forward. Draw it back. Take a fold or a drape, whatever is calling us. We are breathing. Come back on an exhalation, bending back into that front knee. And then we'll take our left hand and bring it over to the inside of the foot. We can heel toe the left foot over to the left side just to bring some space on our mats for our body. So let's take those back toes, curl them under. See what it feels like to lift up off of the knee. And if we already know that's not where we want to be, keep the knee down. But maybe we extend the right arm forward, getting deeper into that lunge, letting the ear come to the inside of that right arm. Try the other arm, bring the right hand back, extend the left arm forward, bringing the head down. Bringing that hand back. And we can choose to lower down to our forearms. We can choose to bring the back knee to the mat. We can roll to the outside edge of that left foot, finding a deeper sensation in this lizard pose. If we do have our forearms down to the mat, relax the shoulders, relax the neck. And bring the knee down if it feels more doable, more accessible for our body. 3 more deep breaths. Extending one arm or the other. Explore the body. That is what it's all about. Come to the mat and see what we can do. See what makes us feel good. Bring those hands back. We'll lift up off of our back knee if we're not already lifted, and we'll bring that left hand back to the outside of the foot and heel toe the foot back into our lunge. Framing our front foot with those hands, lift the heart. You can cup the fingers or bring the hands to blocks, or if it feels like the palms can come down, go ahead and do that. Step it back when we're ready to downward facing dog. Pedal those legs out. They might need some movement. Nice and slow. And then we're going to come forward into plank, inhaling as we come forward, lowering our body down to the mat on an exhalation. When we arrive, we'll keep our hands right underneath our shoulders, but we'll put the tops of the feet onto the mat. So we're going to do just a few knee exercises here, letting our hands stay where they are, spreading our fingers wide, looking down towards the mat, even though we're not going to put our forehead on the mat. Almost close to the mat is our forehead. But find that pubic, or the pelvic triangle. So our 2 hip bones and our pubic bone are connected to the mat. We'll lift our lower right leg off of the mat first. So notice the thighs connected to the mat, keeping our pelvic triangle. Let's see if we can lift that right thigh up off of the mat, even if it's just a 1/2 inch. And let's open those toes. Let the heel press up towards the sky as the toes reach down to the mat, and then point the toes up to the sky. So very slow movement here, alternating between inhaling and exhaling. So stretching and strengthening that area around our knee. One more time. Lower the right leg down. Take a breath in. Exhale it out. This is a little bit of an awkward position for our arms, but we have one more side to do. Take the gaze down to the mat and lift the left lower leg up off of the mat. Open the toes. See if we can keep the pelvic triangle and lift the left thigh away from the mat. Again, if that's too much, the thigh can stay connected to the mat, but we're going to flex and point very slowly, alternating between inhaling and exhaling. It doesn't matter. Let the breath stay smooth. Bring attention to that area around the knee. Slow, slow movements, slow, deep breath. Lower that leg down. We're going to press our hands into the mat to lift our bodies up. Taking child's pose once more. Slide those hips back. Widen the knees if it feels good. And lower, forehead down. It might feel good to shift from left to right. Let's come on up on an inhalation, back to all fours. Stacking arms, stacking legs. It might feel good to do a couple of rounds of cat and cow. And we know what to do. Inhaling as we come to our cow and exhaling as we round into cat. Slowing it down. Let's come into down dog one last time. So coming into our cow, lifting tailbone, lifting gaze, curl those toes under, push up into down dog. And then we're going to take our feet to our hands, walk the feet up to the hands, one step at a time, really, really slow. And this time, take the option of wrapping the hands around the backs of the legs or the heels, allowing our body to get smaller as we hug the chest and belly into the thighs. Drop the head. Come on up on an inhale. Circle, sweep those arms out and up. We'll come up any way we choose, meeting back in Tadasana. Finding our breath. Finding our gaze, whether the eyes are closed and we have that internal gaze, or if our eyes are open, gaze down past the tip of the nose. So we're going to finish off our standing practice today with a really, really wide straddle. So coming to face the side of the mat, we're going to open up our legs into that straddle. So try to go even more than you normally do. We're going to point our toes out and our heels in. We're going to come into a lunge, so we want to make sure the knee doesn't go over the ankle, so that's why we want to widen our stance. So it may feel a little uncomfortable to begin with. We'll bring our arms to our side. We're going to sweep those arms forward and up. Arms will stay straight. Reach those fingers to the sky. You can always take a little bend in the elbows if we need to, but take an inhale, reach up. Take an exhale, bend into those knees. So Tadasana, we're gonna find this pose right here for a few breaths. And if this is where we choose to stay, that's okay. Arms can always come down, but if it's appropriate for our body, we're gonna let our left leg come into a deep lunge. So shift into that lunge. At the same time, we're gonna lift our right toes off of the mat, dig into that right heel. Arms can stay straight up to the sky. Come back to our center point. Really bend into the right leg. Lift the left toes up. Dig into the heel. And we'll go side to side, really slow. Carefully shifting from side to side. Notice what we feel. Again, if we're taking care of our knees in any way, and this is just too much, we don't have to do it. We know that. Honor the body. We'll go side to side. We're lifting those toes up. Dig into the heel as we deeply lunge. And if our arms are starting to talk to us, they can always come down to the hips, hands to hips. One last round. Stay with the breath. Good. Let's come back to center and a little deeper into those legs. Sit it back. And then hands, give those arms a rest. Hands come down to our hips. Straighten up the legs. Parallel the feet so the toes are pointing forward. Draw the shoulders back and down. And take it forward just halfway. Press into the outside edges of the feet. We're making a tabletop with our back, looking forward. So we're not looking down to the mat, we're looking forward. When we're ready to exhale, lower the hands down, coming into our straddle, looking out between the legs. Take a shake of the head, move around. We're going to walk our hands to a lunge. So pivot the feet, we'll face the feet towards the front of the mat, walk the hands towards the front of the mat, coming into our lunge. And then we'll step that back knee, or bring that back knee to the mat, and we'll slide the right leg back to join the left. We're ready to sweep our legs to the sides and come to seated. And as soon as we come to seated, we'll bring our soles of the feet together and deciding if we'd like to bring the heels closer in towards our groin or slide the heels away. Just kind of feel out what we want to do here as far as the placement of our legs. But let's take our hands. Hopefully you can reach the feet with the hands. So if you need to slide the heels back a bit to find the hands on the feet. We're going to pretend like we're opening a book. So keeping the outside edges of the feet connected to the mat, but we'll let the inside edges of the feet open up, almost like we're trying to face the soles of our feet to the sky. Just notice what this does to the knees, to the hips. Breathe in, breathe out. We're just encouraging, almost like you're trying to put the tops of the feet onto the mat, opening up. And then lastly, if it does feel good to let go of the feet and just reach the arms forward, we can reach and come down. Nothing crazy here, just feeling the movements. And then we're going to come back slowly. We can help our knees back together, bringing them to the outsides of the knees. Bring the feet flat to the mat. And then we can roll down to our back slowly, slowly, slowly. Finding our way to our mats and finding our way knees to chest. Hug them in and take a rock side to side. We'll take our legs and straightening them up to the sky, holding on to the backs of the thighs initially. What we're aiming to do is straighten the legs. So if we need to slide the feet or the legs away from the face, that might help. But if they're not straightening, just doing the best we can. If we need support in the legs, keep the hands on the backs of the thighs. But if we can lower those hands down to the mat at our sides, that's fine. That's perfect to do. But we're going to focus on those knees again. So let's take the tops of the feet and reach them towards our shins as the heels point up to the sky. Just like we did when we were on our bellies, go ahead and point the toes up to the sky and then flex the feet, alternating between the two with an inhale and an exhale. Very slow movement. Notice what's going on in and around the knee area. So exaggerate the movement. And at the same time, we're letting our legs drain down. It's nice to have legs up the wall or just legs in the air. Draining. One more round. Good. Let's keep those feet flexed if we can. And then release the tension. Bring the hands back to the thighs. And slowly lower those legs down. You can bend the knees, letting the feet find the mat. Once we bring the feet to the mat, hug those inner legs together. Arms can go out to a T position. Palms can face up or down. Very gentle twist here. So if we press into the feet and lift our bums up off of the mat, shift the hips over to the right side And then we can lift the feet up off the mat. Take that twist. Knees are going to drop over to the left side. We're going to look to the right. You can always keep the feet on the mat. If it's bringing too much torque to the back, to the low back, come back up slowly. Bring the feet back to the mat. We're going to lift our bum up off of the mat. Shift the hips over to the left side. And then we'll lift the knees up and bring those knees over to the right side, looking over to the left side with our gaze. And then we find our way. Come back slowly. Feet come back to the mat. Lift the bum up again as we press into the feet. And knees to chest, giving ourselves one last hug before Shavasana. Rock and roll in the back. And then we'll find our way down to our corpse pose or any other pose that we choose to take for Shavasana. So if it's chilly in your house, get a blanket or get something to keep the body warm. In Shavasana, our mind catches up with what our body has just done. So take that mental scan of the body from head to toe, acknowledging all of the areas that we worked today, all of the muscles that we engaged. Notice, as we always do, where can we release? Where can we soften? Where can we let go? What is important? Letting our breath be the guide as we start to settle into relaxation. We surrender. Coming back slowly. Bringing our attention back one breath at a time. Meeting in Sukhasana whenever we arrive. We'll spend some time with our eyes gently closed. Before we check out, check in one more time. Thank you for acknowledging that your body is important enough for love and attention on our mats. So taking time for self-care, especially as we enter the holiday season. Let's go ahead and draw the hands together in front of our hearts, bowing our head gently with love and gratitude. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.